What's up? What's up? What's up out there, Barbershop Sports Politics fans? We back in the house again with another topic for you. We got the realest statement ever said by an American preacher, in my opinion. So, we got TD Jakes. I hadn't watched too much TD Jakes. I watched them. I had a little time where I did watch a lot of TD Jakes, but recently I hadn't been watching a whole lot of TD Jakes. But this is a pretty real statement, and we're gonna let y'all hear what TD Jakes said, and then we're gonna come back and give our opinions on it. So we're gonna roll to this TD Jakes, and then we're gonna be right back with you, give our opinions on it, and roll that beautiful bean footage.
If you just do the math,
doesn't work out.
if you just do the math, if you take the gross national income of all the churches in America, if we didn't pay the mortgage, if we didn't pay the staff, if we didn't pay the light bill, and took all of our money and gave it all away to the poor and became homeless to feed them, we still don't have the money when we are taking 10% of a few people's income and they're taking 35% of everybody's income. I'd be that gone if I should have to feed everybody by myself. Now, when I did the math on it, I realized that what I am asking the people to do doesn't work. I can help. I can help. I can do my part. I can participate. I can join in. But why did you take 40% of my check and then tell me that I got to turn around and take another 10% to do what you're not doing? When I gave the 40, I thought you were going to feed somebody. And I think we need to rise up and challenge people, because I switched on that. I used to say that too until I got a calculator. And I added it all up, and I started feeding hungry people myself. And if I fed all the hungry people in my zip code, I would have to not pay my staff, and they would be hungry too. So at what point, if you're going to take my money, I don't get to give it, you take it. Before I ever get to see it, I think you can't have 40% of my check and absolve yourself of the responsibility to help feed my community. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I used to buy it. I used to buy it. I used to say it. But when I added it up, it's easy to say that when you live in neighborhoods like we do. But when you actually start feeding them, and don't touch health care. When you start talking about a prescription for blood pressure being $400, $600 for one grandmama who's got 5 different conditions in her body, I don't think the church could do it if we all went bankrupt trying.
Exactly.
Okay. Man, that was a powerful statement, and that was a powerful statement in my opinion, man. Man, it is kind of funny on how that it is constantly said that black people need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. It's a lot of people. We always want to point out the millionaires that we have in our community and everything like that, but yet you taking 40% of every money. And I know some people will say, well, most of them don't pay. Most people don't pay income tax. Okay, well, you take your tax out of my check, so you take 15% already. And then when I go to the stores, I know, because I've been around this country, the highest taxed areas in most states are where the black people are. Because I'm from one of those areas in West Helena, Arkansas. We got the highest tax. We got the highest tax in Arkansas, and yet some type of way our community is still run down. Like, you can't constantly take my tax money over and over again. You come up with this tax and that tax that are mostly strictly on the poor people, We don't want to do anything on the dividends on people that are doing investing. We let them get past, and then we write up every out that this possibly can be, so that they don't have to pay taxes. Yet I'm forced to, because if I just work a normal job, you're gonna take the 15% off top, and then you're gonna come back and tax me on everything that I buy, above 10% in a lot of areas. So it is absolutely ridiculous that you could sit here and say that the government is absolved from their duties to those communities. Because most of us, and I'm sure TD Jakes probably would agree with this statement, most of us feel that if we were getting that and we were actually in control of that tax money, then we would actually be able to do something in our areas. But they take that tax money and they're going and they're blowing money. They starting wars that they wouldn't be able to start. If you voted, we would not have one war. We would not have one war if people had to vote to get on the war. And I'm a firm believer. A lot of people disagree with me on that. But I don't believe, even after 9/11, I don't think after 9/11 that you could have got half of this country to say, yeah, let's go invade Afghanistan and Iraq and mess with Syria and North Korea and all that. Nobody agreed to all that. We didn't agree to all that. You took our money and took our good faith, because we put you up there with good faith that you were going to do what was best for us. Yet that is not what's being done. That is not what's being done. So I'm just throwing my 2 cents of Smoke Cliff. What do you think about that? What do you think about that statement, man?
Man, all right. I'm going to take every part of his statement into consideration, because he makes the most valid point that you can make when it comes to the government's role in taxes. They take 35, 30, 40% from a person before they can ever see their money. You know what I mean? So, and you have to think a lot of that money funds things that you don't want to fund, that you personally wouldn't agree with had you known this is what your money is being used for. So the government gets to say, this is mine and here's the rest of yours, even though you work for that money. You work for this money. And I agree with him there. I guess, but I really think that he is misleading people when he says that if you take the top 10 pastors and try to have an organization run, whereas it could actually make a change, be an institute for change, it could actually make, a difference. They could actually do that, because if you put them together, man, they're probably worth about $2 to $3 billion, just the top 10. And if we're talking about the top 10, now we're not talking about the top 10 black. That's just top 10, period.
Churches, period.
Not churches. If we're talking about churches, top 5, or the top 5 top 3 would be $1 billion churches. You know what I mean? Because TD Jakes' church has about 30,000 members.
Whoa.
So yeah, TD Jakes has 30,000 members, or close to 30,000. And he employs anywhere from 200 to 500 employees. So, I just think it's kind of misleading is to say that kind of revenue won't make a difference if that's the agenda. I don't believe that. I don't believe that one bit. And speaking for as the zip code in general, I don't believe in that either. Because if you have an agenda to do so, it can be done. It's just what exactly are you trying to do? And I think with the revenue that his church brings in, he could make the change. You know what I mean? You employing 200 to 500 people. I mean, that is a lot of people to employ. So that payroll, depending on what their salary is, has to be a lot. But we also have to factor in the membership, because this is a nonprofit organization, right? So that means that they don't get taxed. They don't get taxed. This is a nonprofit. There's no tax. The church pays no tax to speak of. So with 30,000 members spending, let's just say $20 a week, you mean to tell me that can't make a difference within a month? If a quarter of that, if you put a quarter of that back into the community, I like to debate that fact. I mean, and these are physical numbers that you can go look at and see, you know, these are the cases. He employs these amount of people, he has this amount of members, you know, and who can run an organization like this and not pay taxes? Some of the biggest corporations we have in America. You know what I mean? So I guess this is why people are saying churches run like a business. Well,
I'm gonna interject just a second. I see where you're going, and I understand that what you're doing, but what you don't see on the back end, in my estimation and my opinion, on the back end, there are a lot of regulations and rules that can get, you know, can get your either your nonprofit status taken away. You know, if you start trying to do stuff like, cause yeah, I think that they should be funding businesses. Let's be honest with you. We are at a place in our community where we really should be coming together and funding our business and owning our own area. That's really one of the main problems that we have. I talk to people all around. I got no problem with a lot of any other people, but I know that I go into these shops and I talk to these young Arab kids and stuff like that. They are in there and they are going to school and working in those stores. We think that those little stores in our community, it don't mean nothing, but that's a job for someone that could be going to school. And if you're working for someone that you know, they'll work with your schedule as far as your school. It's a lot of people. McDonald's actually will pay for your school, but will they work with your schedule? Will they work with your schedule? When you know you got a test coming up, can you just say, hey man, I got this test coming up. I need this time or whatever. Or, you know, even if they do that time, then they come back and they punish you by taking your hours because they say you weren't available for me when I needed you to be available. Whereas when you own your own business in your own community, and that's your nephew that comes in there and says, I need to go and I need to study for this test. You're like, okay, come back. Or when can I make these hours up? Okay, well, you can make up these hours at this point. You know, that's something that you don't get from majority of the businesses in your community that that are there and they're making money and enough money to, you know, to support, you know, a lot of family members. We don't even look at it at like that. But what you were saying, I just think that there are a lot of rules and regulations on those things. And I saw, like, when Bush was running, there were a lot of preachers that were not minorities in this country that were actually using their pulpit for politics, and they are never have lost their license or their nonprofit. But you know, when you're a minority and you start getting into politics, you bring a little bit of heat on yourself. You bring a little heat on you when you're trying to get into business that may threaten other large businesses in the area. You bring some heat on yourself, and then all of a sudden, they are investigating you on whether you are using that funds in the manner in which they want you to use it. And so I agree. I do believe the churches can do more, but I think that if once you get inside the church and you start seeing how it running, they're kind of pigeonholed by a lot of different rules and regulations, and which don't allow them to do this or do that. But yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think
I
that
mean,
they could.
if that was the case, I would have liked for him to explain that. You know what I mean?
Well, we just
Because
watched a clip. We didn't even watch the whole thing.
Right.
By the way, I
Right.
guess that was a like a symposium on politics and stuff. Like, you can find that on YouTube. I put the link in the description box, so those that want to watch that video or actually watch the entire symposium on church and politics, which is very interesting that they would even have a symposium like that. But one of the most interesting things that I saw from this video is the faces of the people around it. The crowd was jumping up and they were excited, and it seemed like the rest of the preachers and the people that were around him were like, "Man, you getting off task, you getting off subject." I barely even saw, like I said, a clap or anything from any of the rest of the minister. Now, it was two guys on stage that got up and they were into it, but by in part, most of the other ministers, the guys that were behind him were ministers. The lady that was on stage, and the guy to her left, I guess it would be our right if we're watching the screen. Everybody seemed they had a very solemn look on their face when he was making this statement. But I think this, in my opinion, it's the realest statement that I ever heard. Like I said, because I do believe that if you take off those, just allow us to, there's a lot of people in the dominant society that are very concerned about where their tax dollars go to, and they want to make sure that their tax dollars go to what they want to go to, and that seems like that's okay. But our tax dollars, we are because we don't pay income tax, which is actually a disadvantage, because I think most people would rather pay taxes at the end of the year. I think most people would rather do like they do with the income taxes, where you keep your money, and then if you can find out ways to move your money here or there, go to whatever nonprofit that you want to go to, and then write it off for the government so that your tax bill comes down to little or nothing. We would enjoy doing that, and I think if we could do that, we could actually do some things in our community and turn around. But like I said, when you're taking 40%, and then after that 40%, I go back and I give another 10% to my church. And then I know you said that church had 40,000 members, but I've been a part of churches, and maybe 10% of that 40,000 actually gives 10% on a regular basis. Everybody else is pulling out whatever comes out of their pocket on that day, and if they forgot to bring some cash or some coins, they wouldn't give anything. But I've seen the numbers. About 10% actually, 10 to 20% actually will give the 10%, to the T, what they're supposed to give, and then the rest are kind of just like what's name. So that's a big number, and it's larger than a lot of
that's
other.
exactly why I said $10.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly why I said $10, because $10 is you would expect to at least get $10 from a person at church, or maybe it's only $1.
Mm-hmm.
That's still $30,000 every Sunday.
All right, well, I'm just gonna stop right here, man, and I'm gonna drop a bomb for TD Jakes, because that's one of the realest things that I ever heard.
Boom.
TD Jakes blowing the things up around this spot, man. We man, this is a nice topic. We may come back and do a second part to this actual topic. This is a good one to get on, as far as something that it's kind of, you don't want, it's hard to talk about because, you don't want to, you're not really trying to say anything negative about the church because the churches do positive things in our community. We can probably say that they could possibly do more, but, they are currently one of the few organizations, if few organizations that actually are trying to do, and you can go to and say, okay, well, I got, some people can, like I said, go through, man, I'm having problems with my paying for my health care or stuff like that, where you might actually be able to get the help. So they are definitely a help to our community. We just would like to, work with them to see if we could do more. So I'm volunteering my time. TD Jakes, if you got anything, you hear this video and, I'm actually in your area, this statement might actually make me make it to your church, man. Cause I've been in Dallas for a while and I haven't made it to the church, man. I might be at the Potter's house in a couple weeks, man. So, but this is once again your boy Young Lion the Leader, coming to you again with one of these topics here with Smoke Cliff. We burning this internet thing up, man. You better get on or get rolled on, cause we doing the thing, and we appreciate everybody to support us. Always click to subscribe, and we are out.